welcome to this episode of Velocity Kinetics. Now, people who have been long-time viewers of this channel, if there are any long-time viewers of this channel, will know that mobility and things that make life easier for those who are not so fortunate as those of us who are able-bodied is something I'm interested in, something I'm passionate about, and always curious to see what the next thing is as to what could improve people's quality of life. For example, my dad getting the Kia Niro, even though it's not a gadget, so to speak, it's an easier car for him to live with than his Ford Cougar. Fantastic, and then there's the various accessories that he needs to be able to use a car quite comfortably. But I bought the other day something that came up on an advert on Facebook. I've had mixed success with things I've seen on adverts on Facebook. I have gotten into the band When Rivers Meet because of Facebook. That was a fantastic find, and if anyone wants a good song to listen to, then Play My Game or Freeman or Tomorrow, fantastic songs to listen to. I've also had good success with some swim dresses I found for Sarah from I can't remember what the company's called now. Mixed success because the sizes weren't always consistent, but she's got some very nice swim dresses from that company, and they gave me my money back without any questions asked, and then I was able to sell the swim dresses on. So I effectively double dipped, despite just wanting to send them back. But there we are. I've also found some good gadgets along the way that I've given to people as presents, some decent multi-tools, and so on and so forth. Now, what I've found is something from a company called Handley UK. What it is, if the advert is correct, might be a game changer for some people who have a little bit of difficulty getting in and out of a car. But as to what degree of disability it's designed for, I don't know. Effectively, what it'll do, if the advert is correct, is the latch that your door latches into to secure it in place, you have a handle that you put in, and then in theory up to 180 kilos it'll support, although I would say it all depends on how well built your car is, but take it as written, 180 kilos it'll be able to help get in and out of the car. Well, I've got two cars I can test them on. I bought two for £35 because that was the cheapest. Well, one was £27.99, but if it's a good buy, you know I want two. So I've got two cars I can test it on, see what it's like. I suspect if they're any good, the Swace is slightly higher roofline, and even though the Honda is ever so slightly higher off the floor from where your bum goes into the seat, I don't think it's going to be that good for a low-down saloon. Let's see. Well, these items have finally turned up in the post today, and I'm less than impressed. At least on initial look at. That's what it is. It sounds... don't know. It's got a weird gooey feeling to it. It might just be whatever oil they've put on it, machine bits on it, maybe, I don't know. Or to get rubber to connect. It's bizarrely light for something that's meant to be able to cope with 180 kilos. Looks more like a sex toy in some capacities. Don't know. Let's see how that'll work. Now here it is in place. So as you see, it tucks in the door. It's putting a bit of weight on it. It's not. It's going nowhere. I don't know. £35, I'm not sure what I expected, but forgive my car's messy interior. I mean, that's just supported my 20-something stone frame off the floor, so we'll try it in place as it is, though I'm not sure. So let's give this a proper test then and see what it is like. There are a few things that are not going to work properly in this test. For one, the cars in the advert are not a low slung saloon like this Honda Civic that I'm using. Probably would have been more representative to use the Swace, but it's currently parked at the far end of the driveway and I want to put this car on the driveway for a night, so I'm not playing shunting. The other thing is, of course, I am able-bodied. At worst, I've only ever had a dicky knee for a few days, or a bad back for a couple of days, usually due to a trapped nerve or something of that nature. Something self-inflicted that heals itself pretty quickly, not chronic. But then again, in the adverts, the people for this device are also showing as pretty able-bodied. It's also something to do with how you need to get in and out the car. It's very, as I understand it, it's the proper way to get out of a car, not just trying to think how they describe it colloquially. Not the way for ladies to get out of a sports car that's showing the knickers off, I think is how they describe it colloquially. I believe from a physiotherapy standpoint, I believe this is the correct method in which to get out. So what we'll do is we shall shut the door, open the door, put the device in, see what it's like to get out. Do we trust it? I mean, this is obviously Honda Civic, built like a brick shithouse, as should be most cars that use this for. I will say my initial thought with me, and again this is just purely coming from an able-bodied perspective, for me, if you need to use this device beyond a really bad day, if you need to use the device, then you haven't got the right car. I showed this to my dad before, and he's got a Kia Niro, which in my opinion is a far better car for him to get in and out of, and that's just my camera thing falling off the window there, that bang. But he's got a Kia Niro and he's like, oh, that might be good for me. But in my opinion, if he needs it on his Niro, then the Niro isn't the right car for him. I've got them more for the rare occasion that if his Kia is completely indisposed and I have to take him somewhere, he stands a chance of getting in and out of my cars. But I've even said to him, I would rather pay for insurance on his car for a day or an hour, or however long I need to drive him for, and use his car, because I know he can get in and out of it quite comfortably, regardless of how comfortable he is once he's in the seat. If it's uncomfortable getting in and out, doesn't matter how smooth the ride is or anything else along the way. So let us try and work out what it's going to be like. So here is the thing again. Let's have a look. I'm going to put it in there because that's where, if it was me, I'm going to put it in this door pocket, because if it was me, that's probably where I would keep it out of logic. And I've just realised I'm getting the back of my jeans dirty because I need to wash the inside still of this car. Oh well. That's the other reason why the Swace isn't in this video. It's just been cleaned. I'd like to keep it clean for a little bit longer. Anyway, let's see. Right. Okay, so I've just pulled up, pretending I've just pulled up, open my door. Now if I've done what I might need to do and have the widest possible opening, depending on what nature of injury you've got, that might be a bit far to reach. So, lesson number one, needs to go somewhere you can easily reach it. Probably going to be in your cup holder, which then leaves the whole thing a bit, I won't say useless, but the logical place for it is your door. I would say if you've got this because you're disabled, then probably keep it with your blue badge if you're disabled to such a degree where you require a blue badge. So let's redo that, because I actually thought that would be closer, but I also haven't factored in, I have some of these static cloths in the door, which pushes it all further away. Right, take two. Okay, so this time we've pulled up, door's wide open, we're assuming we're in a blue badge bay with the full hashings inside to allow the door to open. Nearly flung a USB cable at the window. Got my device. Now, in general, would you put it in then swing, or would you swing then put it in? Let's try putting it in first. So that's it there. Oh! Didn't mean to give you a view of my crotch like that. Okay, what about getting back in? I mean, I weigh 20 something stone and I put my full faith in that. So I'm it still doesn't feel most reassuring, but the trailer fits with a lot of devices for people with mobility problems. They've got to be lightweight, so this seems to find a nice happy balance. But also that said, if you can only afford, say, a Suzuki Celerio, a Nissan Pixo, if you're buying something that old, or just trying to think of something else that's quite cheap. Hyundai i20, for example, i30, might not be the greatest of things to use. It's getting it back out that's from this angle, especially if you say, for instance, if you're dealing with, say, a frozen shoulder where you can't. I appreciate you'll develop your own way of using it. So if we try again, so it's in the cup holder, grab it out, if I bum round, feet in, and twist. This is a bit exaggerated because I don't think anyone who needs this would have something this low. Then we put it in, scooch forward. Mind you, I'm putting a lot of trust in that, but I'm also just using my own. Problem is, I'm using my own ability because I've got it. I'm not fully trusting it, but the simple physics of it aren't very good. Well, I'm squatting on the floor on my knees just to be level, so let me just. I mean, I don't know how clearly that shows. I did put some trust in it there. But then what do you do with it once you're done? Because you've obviously got to take it out to shut the door. That could lead to some expensive crunching if you've forgotten to take it out. Well, I suppose you'd leave it on your seat. So then you come back, pick it up off your seat, put it in, then you've got to approach it the correct way, which is bum first. Squeeze in. This is not factoring in either if you've had to roll your seat backwards or forwards. Because I know in a car like this where it hasn't got an electric seat, my dad would roll the seat back a bit to help him get out, so he's got a bigger area. Sarah does that as well. She's not disabled, it's just easier for her to get out, given she's a little on the short side. Or I'd imagine even if you were pregnant, for example, this could also be handy if you were pregnant, I suppose. Not just focusing on the able-bodied or the disabled or the elderly. And then I suppose from here you'd use that to lower yourself down, take it out, and then swing yourself in. I don't know. I'm a bit more convinced than I was. Bit more convinced than I was. This isn't a paid for recommendation or paid for review. I bought this myself. The website had a pack of two. The website had a pack of two on offer for £35, so I bought one for the Honda and one for the Swace. Just in case there's an occasion when my dad needs to be driven somewhere. I mean, for example, like a hospital appointment where he's not supposed to drive afterwards, or dentist appointment that you're not supposed to drive afterwards. My concern is if you buy this and you run an older car, or can only afford an older car, depending on how well it's been looked after, whether that's been by yourself or that putting your faith in whoever owned it before you, I'm not convinced. But then again, if you're starting to get rust up here, then that's a bigger problem if you're getting rust all the way up there. I certainly wouldn't say it's a bad idea. It's growing on me. I can see it's a good idea, and it's, like I say, it's simple. It goes into something that's already on every car on the market, a door latch, something that's already very securely attached for various regulations it needs to satisfy. It means what would you prefer to do? Trade in a car that you love for one that you need that's higher up, or would you rather spend £35 that helps you get in and out of a car you love for a tiny bit longer? I think I can speak for me dad, even though he liked his Ford Cougars, even though one of them tried to bankrupt him, as in it was just thirsty, and he likes his Kia. I'd be willing to bet he'd still be in a Volvo estate, or have had a Volvo estate for longer, if we'd had one of these. But then again, it all comes back round to, as I've said at the start of this sort of segment, this car's low. Low is low. It doesn't matter, to a point, it doesn't matter how much this is. If it's so low that its physics and gravity are working against you, then perhaps you do need to get something a bit higher. Now, we're not saying you need something that's got a massive ground clearance. We're just talking a higher roofline. So higher roofline vehicles would be things like Honda Jazz, Skoda Scala, your Kia Niro, Kia Stonic, and similar such vehicles. I can't think of. I think the E-Class Mercedes has actually got, for an estate, got a fairly high roofline for what it is, or at least some of them have had. Yeah, because even the new Volvo, the Volvo V60 and V90 are actually quite low now, quite low roofline. So yeah, maybe even something like a Fiat 500L. Not something I enjoy recommending or suggesting, but if you needed something a bit bigger. Citroen C3 Picasso, or C4 Picasso. Either or, the one that's sort of a bit MPV-ish, a bit people carrier-like. So, would I recommend buying this? I would say it's certainly worth a shot. It's rated up to 180 kilos. I don't know what that is in stone. I just know that I'm 20-something stone. I think it was 130 kilos the last time I was weighed, I think. Yeah, 130 kilos last time I was weighed. So, you know, there's a lot of me. Whether you're talking tall or round, that's a lot of person, 180 kilos. All depends on what vehicle you've got. Certainly, I think at the time I bought this, one was £24.99, or the 2-pack was £35.99. I think it's worth the spend if you're trying to see if you need to change your car, or whether you can live with it a tiny bit longer, whether you're just dealing with an injury, or as in an injury that will recover itself and you will be back on your feet in no time, whether you've unfortunately got a more longer term condition. I think it's certainly worth £35 to see if you can live with your car a little bit longer. Car prices are on the rise, Motability deposits are on the rise, lease deposits just in general are on the rise, bank loans at times are harder to come by, new car prices, as mentioned, are on the rise. They've risen in the time since I first mentioned them to now. Yeah. I mean, I'm all for. I'm not going to shout from the rooftops about this device, but it's certainly very good for what it is. It's hugely practical for what it is. It's well made for its price point. Seems sturdy enough and strong enough, and as demonstrated, it pulled 130 kilos of idiot up and down without any complaints. suppose if the hard bit with this, and again this is the same thing you would do whether you've got a short-term injury or a longer-term condition, you'll have built your habit of getting in and out the car to do things in a certain way. It'll take a little bit of time to retrain your brain. A bit like when you get a new car, it'll take a few minutes to retrain your brain. For example, the last few days I've been driving the Swace, so the start switch for the Swace is over here, and it puts the handbrake on automatically, but probably because I haven't found the setting in the Honda to do it automatically. But I still keep reaching for the handbrake, and I still keep going for the starter button on the wrong side. But then when I've driven the Swace for a few days, and then looking for the starter switch on the Honda on the wrong side, and I keep nearly walking away without putting the handbrake on. So, see, that's just simple going between cars. This could probably quite easily fit discreetly in a handbag, or depending on the size of the handbag, I guess, but I'd say most average size handbags it would fit in quite nicely. For the ladies, for a gentleman, I mean, it'd probably fit in your pocket. This is a 4XL body warmer from Mountain Warehouse. Yeah, it fits in there alright. Fits in that side pocket alright. So, for gentlemen, it would fit in your pocket if you wanted to carry it around. I'm sure there are probably other ways you could find a use for it as well, but then you're taking it into your own hands as to how well built the thing is you're using it for. It's just not the most convenient thing to place in a car. Like I said, for me, and if I had an injury or long-term illness, I'd have to probably use a cup holder. Now, I don't put many things in the cup holders very often. Usually it's just my sunglasses at the moment that I use for it, but it's a thought. So Handley, I think you've got a good product for the price point, and I think a fantastic way to help people get more mobile and be more mobile. And I think perhaps what I'm not considering, because it's not in my purview, because I'm again able-bodied, but I suppose it comes back round to the point I made about when my dad got the Kia and he just keeps going out in it because he can. It's about that freedom. So if it means you don't have to wait until you have a good day to go out in your car, fantastic thing. If it means that threshold for getting in the car becomes lower, as in what's your pain threshold, what's your tolerance threshold, what amount of time it is between whatever tablets, physiotherapy, etc. between that is to be able to get in and out. Yeah, fantastic. So I'll put a link in the description to where I got this from. At the start of the video I was a bit unsure of it. At this point of the video, still a bit unsure, but if it liberates people and allows them to go out and live their life more independently and just feel that little bit more human, I suppose, that little bit less of an inconvenience. £35 is nothing for a pack of two. $24.99 is nothing weighed against your ability to just do what you want, or go back to being able to do what you want. As mentioned, this video is not sponsored. I have not spoken to Handley or anything about that, or anything like that in relation to this, so this is purely my own opinion, having bought the device myself. But thank you for watching. Drive safe, look after yourselves, and we'll see you in the next video.